You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
One of my favorite shows of the week, very relaxed. We talk about the past week in the practice. I bring you some of the research that I'm keeping up on that I believe will apply to you and your loved ones in your life. I go over some of my favorite tech-based gadgets related to health and fitness. I go over my favorite books that I'm reading and everything in between. And of course, I also share with you what's going on, what I'm developing, and what we can all look forward to, especially in this coming new year. So that's really where I want to start today. I've got a couple interviews that I was on that I want to share with you. Two of my favorite ladies in the health-based space, so can't wait to share those shows as well. And what we're going to do is link up and embed everything today at stephencabral.com/1414. So without further ado, let's dive right into the show. First things first, what I want to do is I want you to make you aware that over the next few weeks, we are going to be really prepping for a strong 2020. And that means that we want everyone in our community anywhere in the world to be able to achieve their health, wellness, weight loss, anti-aging goals. So we want to be able to support you. And the best way that we can do that for over 7,000 people strong now is over at cabralsupportgroup.com. So if you are not already a member of that private Facebook group, click on over there today. You can introduce yourself. You can ask a question. You can support others. You can present a before and after photo or success story, whatever you want to do there. If you can't find a particular podcast you're looking for, you can ask it there. If you're wondering what maybe the best lab test would be for you, you can ask that question there. Let us help you in any way that we can. Remember, all we want to do is use our experience working with people all over the world for the past 20 years, over 250,000 client appointments, and just use that as a background to say, this is where we believe you should start. Or based on what you're dealing with right now, here's that next step. So we can't wait to do that. Really, we have so many things planned in 2020. We've got the debut of our new metabolic system, which starts January 2nd, next Friday. I actually released the name of it. I talk a little bit more about it. That is going to be a complete course. If anyone has not been able to lose the weight and keep it off, we are going to show you why that's the case, because that's what you need to know. You know, there's so many people out there struggling right now to lose weight and keep it off, and they don't know why. They're able to lose 10 pounds or so, and then they just yo-yo back. Well, there's a reason why. We want to teach that. We want to show you how to then take it to the next level. We're going to give you the nutrition plan, the shopping plan, the exercise, the de-stress protocol, based just on helping you lose that weight and keeping it off. But of course, as you know, you can't take the weight off until you get the body healthy. So we're going to work on both at the same time. Remember, a healthy body can't be overweight. Physically impossible, right? Physically impossible. So that's what we're going to work on. Can't wait. And over the next 5 weeks, starting with just this past Wednesday show, hopefully you tuned into that. That was how to turn up the metabolism in 5 steps. We're going over that first step, which is called thermogenesis. This goes way beyond eating less and moving more. It's not about that. At the end of the day, we all know that we have friends that eat 3,000 calories a day and they still stay thin. Why is that? Well, remember, it's not just about calories. It's about metabolism. What can you do to boost your natural metabolism? It's there. We need to crank it up. And on episode 1412, I went through that. Every Wednesday for 5 weeks total, I'm going to be going through the exact 5 steps of what to do beyond just calories in, calories out. Okay, so I hope you check out those shows. This week, we also had shows on blood sugar fluctuations. That was on Tuesday, episode 1411. Yesterday was a shocking gold medal Olympic training tip. This was, to me, something I've been, again, hearing over and over and over and over. And yet, I don't want to listen to it because, I have this inner meathead, from 18 years old. We're going to the gym and you want to max out every time you're there. Check out this episode. I think it'll be eye-opening. I know it was for me. And then on Monday, on our Motivation and Mindset Monday, how to finally fail free. And this is something that we all need, especially I want you to take this into the new year, because you have to remember that you're most likely right now, if you are stressed, feeling like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, that you're not understood, that you're overwhelmed, that you're of some low-level anxiety, and it's affecting all areas of your life. So check out those shows. I would love you to tune in. And also, I talked about the debut next Friday of the 10 Days of Holiday Deals. Just ended on Wednesday. That was so much fun. That was the very first time we did that for the holiday season. I mean, I love the holidays. So whether you're celebrating Hanukkah or Christmas this coming week or any other holiday that of your choice, I wish you the best. I really do. I wish you a very merry and happy holiday season, one hopefully filled with a lot of joy. You get to take a little time off. You get to spend that time with family or loved ones, and I really wish that for you because the season goes by so quickly. So try to just stop for a second, pause for a moment, as much as you can, even if it's only for a day, that you enjoy that day with family, friends, loved ones. I'm going to try to do the absolute same. So now I want to share with you, for the most part, that's what's going on in the practice. What I want to share with you is 2 podcasts I was on just last week. And they didn't make it in time for me to talk about them on last Friday Review. But the first one is with my friend and colleague, Amanda Tress. I met Amanda about 2.5 years ago. And, instantly we just hit it off. We're of the same mindset. Our goal, we basically started in the same spot. We really did. We started off in the fitness-based industry, working with clients one-on-one, a lot with nutrition, and both of us had a larger message, to spread. And for me, I veered off more towards naturopathy, functional medicine, bioregulatory medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, all of those. And Amanda really dug deep into helping women lose weight. And so, it's great. It's just, we have our 2 different paths and they're so synergistic. I'm a huge advocate of what Amanda's doing. I just spoke at her Faster Way event, 350 of her top coaches. I met so many amazing women down there. It was an absolute incredible time. Unfortunately, I was only able to spend 1 day there, and then I had to fly right out because we had a family gathering up in Maine, and obviously very, very important to me, family, and the holiday season. But I got to meet so many women down there. I got to do amazing book signing, and so I want to thank the entire Faster Way community. And Amanda was gracious enough to have me as her first guest on the new Faster Way podcast. So super excited about that, truly honored to be the first guest on the show. And her podcast topic for me was about a lot of different things. So it was about micronutrients. Can you get them from just 2 meals a day? Carbohydrates, are they important or not? How long could you go low carb? Talked about intermittent fasting. Should everybody be doing 16-8? Who's it best for? Should you start there? And then I talked about essentially the law of diminishing returns, meaning how little can you eat and how much exercise can you actually do? And then what do you do after that? But the biggest topic for the podcast was, and the most controversial, was, does coffee break your fast? And I talked about that on the show. So I'm going to link that up today. It's episode 1 over at the Fast Way podcast, but I'm going to link up and try to embed all of the podcast, all of the show notes today at stephencabral.com/1414. 1414 is today's episode. So thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Faster Way community. All right, and my other favorite person in the health and wellness-based industry, Melissa Ambrosini. Melissa, I think this is the 4th, she said potentially the 5th time I have been on her podcast. And I love going on Melissa Ambrosini's podcast, love her community, her tribe, as she calls it. I would go on Melissa's show every single week. There's so much to talk about. She's a wealth of information herself in terms of mindset, in terms of health and wellness, and really taking care of your body from the inside out, and also connecting the mind, body, and self-care. So she's got a great Instagram account, really great message, and the episode that we did together, we've done so many different shows. We've done one on healthy pregnancy. We've done so many shows. We'll try to link some of those up as well. But for me, what I want to do is talk about today's show I was on with her. So it was called Cellulite, Acne, bad breath, and eating disorders. So we covered a lot and a lot of different topics. But I think that Melissa's a great host. She intertwined all of those topics, really nice transitions there. And we went over what are the causes of cellulite, how to get rid of cellulite. We talked about acne. We talked about bad breath. We talked about eating disorders. If those topics are things that you're interested in or learning about them so that you can help others, clients, family, friends, you can check out that show. And this was episode 261 of the Melissa Ambrosini Show. So what I'll do is I will embed that as well, if possible, at StephenCabral.com/1414. And if I can't embed it, I will link over to Melissa's show. Okay, thank you to Melissa as well for having me on again. Truly appreciative and grateful to have the honor of being on her show and speaking with her tribe. Next up, I want to share with you, before I get to 3 quick research studies that I know that you want and need to know about because these are things that affect every single one of us, I want to share with you a cookbook. A lot of people ask me for cookbook recommendations. So I was just moving this past week into a brand new office. It is in complete dismay right now. As I look around, there are crates all over the place. Now, actually, that's one thing that I should recommend on today's show. It's called Super Crate. You can go to supercrate.com. SUPERCRATE.com. Supercrate.com is a great way to do and use recyclable or reusable containers instead of using, like I used, 25 different boxes and all that packaging tape and all those things that you just throw away afterwards. So at Supercrate, and they're not a sponsor of the show, with them, we use them for moving. My life has been crazy the past 90 days. Traveling, we sold our condo in Boston that we lived in for the past 12 years, that we've raised both of our young daughters in, that they grew up in. It was, bittersweet, but our new place is quite nice, and I'm very, very happy and grateful to be in that as well. But I also moved offices. And what I've realized is this. I'll keep it simple. I only own 2 things in life, and that's nutritional supplements and books. That's basically it. If you took out nutritional supplements and books out of my office, I'd have about 10% of my things left. That's about it. I mean, the rest of the stuff is basically technology-based gadgets and like my electron microscope and things I brought from overseas. That's it. So it's unbelievable. But, it's been a good experience. There's still lots to move in. There's still lots to fix up. But in 2020, this will be the set. There's basically 5 different filming stations to do video in 2020. Video is going to be kind of that next thing, that next step that I want to do. And I'm super excited about that. Okay, so I don't know why I got on that topic. Oh, yes. Well, I was pulling out all of my books. I had to take all of them off the bookshelf and put all of them back on the bookshelf. And one book that I came across that actually, I don't even know how old it is, but quite a good cookbook. It was written in 2012, and it was written by Alyssa Segerston. I apologize if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. It could be Segerston, and Tom Maltaire. And really great. I mean, honestly, really great book. So I believe that one, if not both, have children with ADD, ADHD, and potentially autism. And so at least it talks about that in the book. It gives you about maybe like 20 pages of intro, just kind of nice health-based advice. Talks about lab testing, talks about micronutrient deficiencies, and then it gives you, it's basically 500 pages of recipes. I mean, it's pretty fantastic. And it is a gluten-free cookbook. And for the most part, and it is dairy-free and soy-free as well. It's called Nourishing Meals, Healthy Gluten-Free Recipes for the Whole Family. Nourishing Meals, Healthy Gluten-Free Recipes for the Whole Family. If you know Alyssa, if you know Tom, feel free to tag them on Instagram. Let them know that they did great work in publishing their book, Nourishing Meals. I know a lot went into this. It is a big cookbook, and many of which I can wholeheartedly recommend for any of our protocols as well. So you can check that out. I will certainly link it up today at 1414. All right, now on to our research for the day. So the first one is this. There's a 49% lower risk for breast cancer among women who eat high amounts of onions and garlic than among women who don't. The anti-cancer flavonols in garlic and onions may be the reason why. The study was done in Puerto Rico, where garlic and onions are staples for many people. They enjoy them both cooked and raw. This was done by PhD candidate in epidemiology and environmental health at the University of Buffalo, the State University of New York, and the lead author of the study published in Nutrition and Cancer. The name is Gauri Desai, GauridSai. Now, why do I bring this up? Well, 50%, 49% lower risk of breast cancer. That's pretty phenomenal. But when you look at it, we have to understand the mechanisms. So mechanisms matter. Here's the thing. We've known this for many years. We look at Mediterranean diets. I look at my own grandparents and my great-great-aunts who lived much longer than what life expectancy typically would be. And we don't truly know yet. We don't truly know yet what the flavonols in plant-based foods do. So in garlic and onions, there's the allicin family. Why does that matter to you, right? Why always ask, so what? Like, that's the question. Here's the thing. We know that these are metabolites in plants, these flavonols or flavonoids. They're cell signaling molecules. That's what we know. We know they're anti-inflammatory. We know they have antioxidant-based effects. We know that they can interact with enzymes. We know that they can relax the blood vessels. But we don't exactly know how they work or why they work to cut down on cancer, neurodegenerative issues, as well as cardiovascular blood pressure. So again, let's look at this. Top causes of disease and death mortality. Why people die at a younger age. Heart attacks, cardiovascular. Onions, garlic help with that. Plant-based foods help with that. Blood pressure. Well, plant-based foods help with that. How about cancer? Plant-based foods help with that. And type 2 diabetes. Okay, so let's look at this. Onions and garlic are very powerful. Some of the most powerful when it comes to these specific effects. We recommend them for people after they clean up their gut. Why? So if you're on the CBO protocol, if you have candida overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth in the gut, if you have anything like that, what we want to do is not feed that bacteria or candida first. So because there are also very powerful prebiotics, right? So they feed the good gut bacteria after you've repopulated. That's the whole goal. So after you come off the CBO protocol, you can start to add them in back very slowly. After about 8 weeks, we allow garlic to be added in slowly, and then onions eventually, because onions are a very powerful prebiotic. So again, my great-great-aunt used to have onions, old school Italian, hanging from her kitchen, and lots and lots of garlic, lots of onions. So something to look into, and of course, we've known about these benefits for quite some time because they actually encapsulate garlic powder, aged garlic powder, kyolic garlic powder, for people with cardiovascular issues and also blood pressure issues. So we know that it works. Okay, next study. Well, you know what I wanted to share with you, because this is interesting news as well. This is more like a public safety one. There's a lot of people out there with acid reflux, a lot of people out there with Barrett's esophageal-based issues, and they're having endoscopies done. Basically, they're having their esophagus, stomach scoped. Okay. When you are doing it's called a duodenoscope, you want to ask your GI doctor, your GI specialist, to not use a sterilized scope, but rather a disposable one. The FDA recently found that there's an issue with cross-infection between people using sanitizer sterilized scopes. What they found is that it's not possible to fully sterilize them and sufficiently sterilize them, which means there may be spread of infection from one person to the other. And one of those could potentially be H. pylori or other viral-based issues, bacterial viral issues. So again, more of a public safety. If you know anybody going in for a GI scope, simply say you're requesting a disposable scope. Again, it's your health, it's your body, rather than one that's been sterilized. And you can just let them know why, okay? This was actually written up in the New York Times. So if you want to look it up, you can check out New York Times disposable scopes for GI procedures. All right, last research study of the day, because I want you to have an amazing holiday weekend coming up, is this. We always talk about sleep. You know, I'm a huge proponent of sleep. You know that in an ideal world, I would never sleep because I'd rather do other things, but I have to get my sleep. We all do. This is out of Celine Vetter, PhD, Assistant Professor of Integrated Physiology and Director of the Circadian and Sleep Epidemiology Lab at the University of Colorado Boulder, and the senior author of a study published in the Journal of American College of Cardiology, wrote and found that getting less than 6 hours of sleep in 24 hours can up your risk for a heart attack by 20%. That means any one night, less than 6 hours, could increase your rate for a heart attack by 20%. 10 or 11 hours can also increase a heart attack by 34%, although we don't know the reasons for this yet. Staying in the healthy zone of sleeping somewhere between about 6 and 9. You heard in my previous podcast before, how much sleep do you need? It's 7 to 9 hours. It's actually 7 to 9 hours, and because that's an array of studies that I looked at, can offset the risk for heart disease and even those risks that are genetic. So pretty impressive, right? It keeps going back to how much sleep do you need? 7 to 9 hours, 7 to 9 hours, 7 to 9 hours, 7 to 9 hours. So important. The more of an ectomorph Vata body type, the more you push your body, the more sleep you need, up to about 9 hours. We definitely don't want more than 10. We don't want 6 or less, right? So that's the buffer zone. The ideal is 7 to 9. So hopefully that was helpful. Again, one more reason why we need to make sure we're getting enough sleep for health, for longevity, for our ability to regulate blood sugar, to lose body fat, so many different reasons. And again, feel free to pass this information along. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show. I appreciate you. Have an amazing weekend. I'll be back tomorrow, as always, for our weekend house calls, answering our community's questions each and every weekend. Take care, everyone. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.